Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. The Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Honourable Dr. Andrew Fiore. Ladies and gentlemen, their honors, the Honourable Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Honourable Judy Foote, Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, and Mr. Howard Foote. Please be seated. Honorable and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter Fitzgerald, Chief of Protocol. I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's ceremony. On behalf of their honors and the Premier, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this investiture ceremony to recognize the recipients of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. The ceremony will commence with an address by Her Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Honor, the Honourable Judy M. Foote, Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, and Chancellor of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Good morning. Welcome to Government House, to the People's House. Premier Fiore, Order of Newfoundland and Labrador recipients, family and friends of the recipients, Chair of the Advisory Council for the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, ministers and members of the House of Assembly representing the districts of the recipients, welcome again to Government House for the 14th investiture of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. It is always an honor to recognize citizens of our province at Government House for their contributions and their achievements. I do so today not only as Lieutenant Governor, but as Chancellor of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. It is an especially fitting setting to celebrate the 9 individuals being invested into the Order as we recognize them as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians who have made significant contributions to our province, our country, and our world. The Order is our highest provincial honour and is part of the official honour system of Canada. It was first approved by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 2003 and first bestowed in 2004. The 9 exemplary Newfoundlanders and Labradorians being invested today join a prestigious group of 127 individuals who have become members of the Order since it was established. Every year since, Newfoundlanders and Labradorians have been recognized for demonstrating excellence and achievement in any field of endeavour that benefits in an extraordinary manner Newfoundland and Labrador and its residents. The recipients of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador for 2021 who meet that criteria unequivocally are John Barrett, David Bradley, Louise Bradley, Fred Budgel, Dr. Alice Collins, Marlene Ccretes, Dr. Donald Dingwell, Lester Powell, and Dr. Ted Rosales. Mr. Barrett, thank you so much for your dedication as an athlete and a volunteer with Special Olympics. Becoming first Special Olympian to be inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame on October the 3rd, winning numerous gold medals and setting world records is commendable indeed. Congratulations. Mr. Bradley, thank you for your commitment to preserving our heritage in rural Newfoundland and Labrador and your instrumental work that has helped transform the town of Bonavista in particular. Your commitment, vision, and determination in preserving the heritage of our province has been recognized both locally and nationally. Congratulations. Ms. Bradley, thank you for being a trailblazer and advocate for healthcare on the national stage and now in your home province with your focus on mental health. We have witnessed it firsthand here at Government House when, as a volunteer, you moderate our sharing circles that let community members know the resources available to them. Your work is key to helping improve the lives of our province's most vulnerable. Congratulations. Mr. Budgel, thank you for your commitment to your hometown of Norris Arm, where you have spent decades making sure your community was, as we say in Newfoundland and Labrador, looked after, including serving as mayor for 15 years. Among the many organizations in which you participate as a volunteer, your dedication to the War Memorial for 30 years, including its construction, has not gone unnoticed. Dr. Collins, thank you for your dedication to education. Your ongoing work on important curriculums and research are instrumental in developing how we approach teaching. Your work shaping minds is inspiring and ensures we have the best leaders. Your name is synonymous with education in our province. Ms. Ccretes, thank you for your commitment to your craft as a renowned environmental artist and poet. Your volunteer and community work, including the Art Smarts program, helps support the discipline and helps instill in our youth that your passion for the arts. Dr. Dingwell, thank you for your work as a geoscientist and researcher, which has seen you working on the international stage and resulted in more than 450 peer-reviewed scientific papers. Among your many accomplishments is the founding of the Department of Earth and Environmental Science at Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich. Mr. Powell, thank you for your dedication to aviation and pioneering career as a pilot in Labrador. You opened up our province, ensuring that many Labradorians had access to vital services, including medical support and mail delivery. Thank you for continuing to mentor a new generation of young pilots. Dr. Rosales, thank you for your dedication as a pediatrician and geneticist, which allowed our province to advance in the field of genetics and was instrumental in establishing the Janeway Genetics Program. Your 46 years of service in our province is sincerely appreciated. As you can appreciate, the Advisory Council of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador faces a difficult task when they review all of the nominations. This year, the Advisory Council reviewed 88 nominations, from which 9 were recommended. 9 is the number of individuals invested into the order each year. Nominations that are received are also carried forward to the next year in the event an individual does not become invested. Please join me in thanking the members of the Council for their commitment and diligence in fulfilling a very difficult task. The Clerk of the Executive Council, who also serves as Chair, is Krista Quinlan, and Krista is here today to represent all members of the Council. On the Council as well is the Chief Justice of Newfoundland and Labrador, who today is the Honourable Deborah Fry, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, who is the Honourable Derek Bennett, the Chancellor of Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Susan Knight, members of the Order, there are 2 members of the Order, Elder Calvin White and Sterling Payton. And there are 2 members appointed by the Lieutenant Governor and Council, who are Earl Ludlow and Anna Thistle. Congratulations again to all 9 of you who are being invested today into the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador for 2021. You make Newfoundland and Labrador proud as ambassadors, leaders, role models, change makers, and humanitarians. We will now proceed with the investiture.
Thank you, Your Honor. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, John R. Barrett. John Barrett, also known as Jackie, joined Special Olympics as a child in 1987. Mr. Barrett's hard work and perseverance is exemplified by his many achievements in both sport and life. He has a long and successful tenure as an athlete, and he was the first Special Olympian to be inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Mr. Barrett has been a great ambassador, representing Newfoundland and Labrador and Canada on the world stage. He has won many gold medals while setting new world records in powerlifting. Mr. Barrett was nominated for the Lou Marsh Trophy in 2015, recognizing him as one of Canada's top athletes that year. Mr. Barrett now volunteers with Special Olympics Corner Brook, where he mentors the club's powerlifters, as well as serves as an executive member. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, John R. Barrett. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, David Gordon Bradley. David Bradley is one of the founders and current chair of the Bonavista Historic Townscape Foundation. His involvement has spanned over 25 years, and his efforts have had a major impact on heritage preservation in rural Newfoundland and Labrador. During that time, Mr. Bradley has also worked as an archivist with Memorial University's Maritime History Archive. His volunteer work has focused on implementing the recommendations of the Bonavista Historic Townscape Management Plan and in attracting public and private investment for specific initiatives such as restoration programs for property owners, streetscape development in the town's core, and the restoration and redevelopment of public heritage buildings, including the Garrick Theatre. Throughout, Mr. Bradley's emphasis has been on pursuing initiatives that are relevant to residents, engaging property owners and local artisans in the restoration of buildings, and adding value to public spaces that are accessible to everyone. His efforts have also demonstrated how preserving the heritage can be an economic generator. It has helped to transform Bonavista into the vibrant, renewed community that it is today. His commitment, vision, and determination in creating a model for heritage preservation in Newfoundland and Labrador has been recognized both locally and nationally. Mr. Bradley is also former chair of the Association of Heritage Industries, an umbrella group of non-governmental heritage organizations in the province, the Newfoundland Historical Society, and the Heritage Canada Foundation. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, David Gordon Bradley. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Louise Bradley. Louise Bradley has been a leader and advocate for mental health throughout her entire career, beginning as a nurse in Corner Brook. For more than a decade, she has been the President and CEO of the Mental Health Commission of Canada. In that capacity, she oversaw the development of Canada's first mental health strategy and Opening Minds, a 10-year anti-stigma initiative. She retired from that role in April of this year. Ms. Bradley continues her efforts to change the mental health landscape, now largely in a volunteer capacity. From the world's largest research project on homelessness and the mentally ill, At Home Chez Soi, she now serves on the board of the Gathering Place, working to improve health outcomes and bringing dignity to some of the province's most vulnerable individuals. Ms. Bradley has multiple honorary degrees and an extensive list of awards. In 2019, she was invested as a member of the Order of Canada. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Louise Bradley. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Fred Budgel. Fred Budgel was born and raised in the town of Norris Arm, where his extensive volunteer work spanning decades has made a lasting impact on the community and the broader central Newfoundland area. Mr. Budgel was postmaster with Canada Post for 34 years, and during this time ran successful retail businesses in the community with the support of his late wife, Marion. Since the 1950s, he has volunteered tirelessly and continues to do so in his 80s. He credits his mother as his greatest influence for her passion as a community volunteer. Mr. Budgel's public service and volunteer work over the years has been varied and includes serving as mayor of Norris Arm for 15 years, a director with the Lewisport Area Development Association, the Exploits Valley Economic Development Association, school board chairperson at the time of transition from the denominational school education system, Lions Club executive member, and in various roles with the United Church in central Newfoundland, including the Loon Bay Camp. Mr. Budgel initiated the construction of a war memorial site for Norris Arm and has served on the War Memorial Committee for the past 30 years. He continues to serve as the chair of the board and organizes the annual memorial services, as well as keeps the grounds in excellent condition with beautiful flowers, which he plants every summer. He contributes to many other organizations, such as the Kids Eat Smart program and the Norris Arm Heritage Society, which led to the development and construction of the Norris Arm Heritage and Arts Center on the waterfront in Norris Arm, which contains the Fox Moth Museum and regularly hosts entertainment events throughout the year. In 1999, Mr. Budgel received the Governor-General's Caring Canadian Award. In 2012, he received the Seniors of Distinction Award. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Fred Budgel. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Alice M. Collins. Dr. Alice Collins is Professor Emeritus and former Dean of the Faculty of Education, Memorial University. She has served as the President of the Canadian Association of Deans of Education, President of the Canadian Society for the Study of Education, President of the Canadian Association of Teacher Education, and board member of the Social Sciences and Humanities Council of Canada. Dr. Collins has worked on curriculum outcomes and teacher education policy with the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development, on leadership theory and practice with the province's school districts, on teacher professional development with the Newfoundland and Labrador Teachers Association, and on parental involvement and governance with the Newfoundland and Labrador Federation of School Councils. She has conducted research into the areas of teacher education and school governance, and has taught in the public school system in Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as in graduate and undergraduate programs at Memorial University and at the University of Jakarta. She was also a driving force behind the development of a PhD program in the Department of Education at Memorial. Dr. Collins has received many awards, including the Herbert J. Coots Award for National Leadership in Education, and has been involved in the community and served on organizations such as the Board of Eastern Health, Janeway Children's Foundation, and Johnson Geo Center. In 2016, Dr. Collins was appointed chair of the Premier's Task Force on Improving Educational Outcomes. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Alice M. Collins. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Marlene Ccretes. Marlene Ccretes is a renowned environmental artist and poet who works with photography, video, scientific and vernacular knowledge, walking, and collaborative site-specific performance in the 6-acre patch of old-growth boreal forest where she lives in Portugal Cove. Her work has been presented in over 350 exhibitions and screenings across Canada and internationally, and is represented in numerous Canadian public collections, including the Rooms Provincial Art Gallery in St. John's, the Canada Council Art Bank, and the National Gallery of Canada. In 2019, she received the Governor General's Award in Visual and Media Arts for Lifetime Artistic Achievement. Ms. Ccretes' volunteer and community work includes positions with the Board of Eastern Edge Gallery, the Arts and Letters Committee of the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, the National Council of the Royal Canadian Academy of Arts, and the Board of Vanel Carfax, advocating for artists' rights. She co-founded both the Advisory Committee on the Environment and the Arts Association Partners for the Arts for the town of Portugal Cove, St. Philip's. With her passion for the province's environment, she created art experiences for almost 3,000 school children through the Art Smarts program. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Marlene Ccretes.
I don't even know.
Need tissues? Just a second, please. That's okay.
She has one. Now you're gonna have me crying. It's okay.
To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Donald Bruce Dingwell. Dr. Donald Dingwell is a world-renowned geoscientist and researcher who grew up in Corner Brook and graduated from Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador. In 1987, Dr. Dingwell was recruited to Germany, where he learned the language as an adult. He founded and is currently director of the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences at Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich. Since 2000, Dr. Dingwell has been in his present position as Professor of Mineralogy and Petrology in the Faculty of Geosciences. He has published more than 450 peer-reviewed scientific papers in his field and has received numerous scientific awards. Dr. Dingwell has led several major national and European research projects and initiatives in the solid earth sciences. He is a fellow of the American Geophysical Union, the European Geosciences Union, the Mineralogical Society of America, the Geological Association of Canada, and an honorary fellow of the Society of Mineralogy and Petrology of Italy. He is an elected member of 5 national and supranational academies, the Royal Society of Canada, the Academia Europaea, the Leopoldina, Acatech, and the Royal Society of London. Dr. Dingwell has had honorary degrees of Doctor of Science bestowed upon him by the University of Alberta, University College London, and the National Autonomous University of Mexico. He has served as 3rd Secretary General of the European Research Council, President of the European Geosciences Union, and as President of the World's Volcanology Association. He has also served on a vast number of Canadian and international funding panels. The President of Germany has bestowed upon him the Order of Merit of the Federal Republic of Germany. In 2020, he was invested as an officer of the Order of Canada. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Donald Bruce Dingwell. receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Lester C. Powell. For more than 50 years, Lester Powell has had a pioneering career as a pilot in Labrador. He began his storied career working for Labrador Airways for 44 years, a predecessor to Air Labrador. He flew a Cessna 180 to deliver first-class mail from Nain to all points south to Henley Harbour. In 2017, he flew his last run for Air Labrador after logging more than 45,000 flight hours. Mr. Powell has made a significant contribution to transportation and aviation in Newfoundland and Labrador. He comes from a family of 7 boys and 2 girls, with 6 of the boys, including himself, the second oldest, who became pilots. He is well known in the big land for his remarkable pilot skills and steady hand. Passengers always felt safe knowing that he was at the helm. Mr. Powell's unique capabilities and experience ensured that many Labradorians had access to vital services such as medical support and mail delivery. He opened up some of the most remote regions in the province. Mr. Powell mentors many pilots in the aviation industry, teaching them how to fly in the challenging terrain and inclement weather. His dedication to serving remote communities has made a lasting impact on our province and the aviation industry in the north. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Lester C. Powell.
That's why you're here.
To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Teodoro Ted Rosales. Dr. Ted Rosales has spent more than 50 years as a pediatrician, geneticist, and educator. He was born in the Philippines and moved to Canada after studying medicine at the University of the Philippines in Manila. In 1969, he settled in Newfoundland and Labrador and went on to serve in many roles, including Chief of Pediatrics in Central, Pediatrician Geneticist at Janeway, and Professor of Pediatrics at Bonn. Until the late 1990s, Dr. Rosales was the only pediatrician in our province specializing in genetics. He was instrumental in establishing the Janeway Genetics Program, providing genetic counseling to families grappling with hereditary disorders, and made countless personal visits to rural communities. Dr. Rosales' work and research contributed immensely to the healthcare field locally, nationally, and internationally. He is a recognized expert in fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and worked with colleagues across Canada to develop a national screening toolkit for those identified and potentially affected by the disorder. Dr. Rosales is an expert in child protection, and his advocacy work strengthened provincial guidelines and social work policies around the reporting of child abuse. To receive the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Teodoro Ted Rosales.
Congratulations again to the incredible 9 exemplary recipients of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. And you're getting a standing ovation. Whenever I have an opportunity to share with those who visit the grounds of Government House or Government House itself, I encourage you to take time and experience the grounds of Government House. These grounds belong to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. So let's begin by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous people who have contributed to 9,000 years of history, including the Beothuk on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. So today, if you have time, I'm going to encourage you to visit the Heart Garden on the grounds of Government House. I think we've all been witness to some tragic incidents in our history, at least the discovery of the Indigenous bodies of the Indigenous children or the unmarked graves. The Heart Garden is a reconciliation initiative. The first Heart Garden in Canada was at Rideau Hall. We now have one on the grounds of Government House in Newfoundland and Labrador. If you get a chance to visit, it's a place of reflection. It's a place for all of us to recognize that we have a role to play in reconciliation. So there are 5 Indigenous governments in Newfoundland and Labrador. The garden itself has 5 beds. The plants are the traditional plants used by the Innu and all of our Indigenous people for medicinal or food purposes. There are 5 benches. Each bench has the name of the 5 governments engraved in the back. What's really something I really want you to take to heart when you go there is that in the middle of the garden, there's a heart. And you cannot go there but feel the pain of our Indigenous people. On the top of the heart, the concrete-formed heart, there's a heart made out of Labradorite. That heart was carved by Edmund Saunders, an Inuit artist from Hopedale. And it was Edmund's sister, Loretta, who was a murdered Indigenous woman in Halifax. She was from Labrador. So I want you to take time, if you have it. If not, come back another time and reflect on what has transpired in our history and how we can all move forward by playing a role in reconciliation. Thank you.
The ceremony will conclude with an address by the Honourable Premier. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Dr. Andrew Fraser.
Good morning. It's a true honor and privilege to be here today at my first investiture, but I have to start by telling you how special it is for each of you, but indeed your families as well. My grandmother was invested into the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador, and it was a special moment, not just for her, but her families. So I'm sure the families behind you today are not only supportive, but are beaming with pride, as I was on the day that she was invested. So congratulations. I have to tell the people in the back that we had the opportunity to have dinner last night with these incredible Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. And there was, despite, as you've heard, the diversity that exists within this room today, there was common threads and themes running amongst the conversations. In this group of 9, there's an incredible sense of purpose, of drive, of accomplishment. But as the conversation, of course, kept proceeding, the common theme that knit us all together, if you will, was a sense of place of belonging to this beautiful province that is Newfoundland and Labrador. Through community activism on behalf of the most vulnerable in our society, to flying to save lives of people in rural communities, to discussing volcanoes and making an impact on a geotechnological stage the likes of no other Newfoundlander and Labradorian has ever achieved, to providing genetic information to family, and in addition to teaching me pediatric clinical skills, to ensuring that we don't forget our heritage and recognizing that it's not just something that we should do. It represents an economic opportunity for all our rural communities. And of course, knowing that strength is not just something physical, but indeed the strength of leadership is something that's born in one's heart. Knowing that, of course, we have the ability to set our educational outcomes and not be limited by what we often consider to be limits of our own island ourselves, but indeed set our own path towards better education opportunities for our children and indeed create a new future for the province. And of course, making sure that we respect the environment and do so in an artistic, fulfilling way, which of course Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are known for around the world. Of course, I have notes in front of me which would outline every single one of your individual accomplishments, but someone has already stolen that thunder on me. But again, I want to, on behalf of the government, thank each and every one of you. Today is about you, but more importantly, it's about what you represent. And what you represent is what indeed is what it truly means to be a Newfoundlander and Labradorian. Your accomplishments go far beyond what was read out today individually. Your true accomplishments are contributing to the fabric that is Newfoundland and Labrador. And for that, you all deserve a round of applause and the medals that now sit on your chest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier. Honored guests, following this ceremony, their honors and the Premier invite recipients and guests to a reception in the drawing room. You may exit the room via the front right-hand doorway. Please remain in the hallway and foyer until the doors are opened for the reception. In accordance with health guidelines, masks are recommended while moving about if you are unable to physically distance. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the Ode to Newfoundland and remain standing for the departure of their honors and the Premier and the newest members of the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador.